All right, we're going to continue our media availabilities here in advance of the Cookout Southern 500 weekend. We've now been joined by Tyler Reddick, driver of the number 45 Toyota for 2311, and Kyle Larson, driver of the number 5 Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports. Tyler, Kyle, thank you both for joining us today. We really appreciate it. As we head into this weekend, obviously the end of the regular season champion will be crowned tomorrow night. And then additionally, it's also the Southern 500. So if we'll take a question from Tyler first, or a comment, I should say, from Tyler first, followed by Kyle. Just tell us a little bit about this weekend and what it means to your team to be here.
Yeah, it's the regular season's kind of flown by. The whole year kind of has. The break, everything else. I don't know. It feels like we just got going, but yeah, it's been a nice climb out of the gutter for us as the years went on. Just some really solid finishes have helped us close the gap and then get to where we are currently today. But yeah, really excited for this weekend. This is always a race that means a lot to me. I feel like it means a lot to a lot of these drivers, and it's one that I've ran second, third a few times in, to this very guy over here to my left. So we'll try and get one spot better this weekend, but yeah, we'll probably be racing around each other a lot tomorrow night.
All right, and Kyle?
Yeah, no, as Tyler touched on, it's kind of wild that we begin our playoffs next week, and yeah, I feel the same way. The season's kind of flown by, and we've had, as well as I'm sure all the teams, our ups and downs. A little bit opposite, I guess, of Tyler. I feel like started the year off really consistent and strong, and then have kind of found some inconsistent races on my end here lately, where he had tough luck early in the year and then has been super consistent since. So, and then now we've kind of met, with similar points at the end of the regular season. So yeah, it's been fun. It's been good to be up front those times, and we've been fast most weekends. So now as we approach the final 10 weeks, just got to be on our A game.
All right, we'll go ahead and take questions for Tyler or Kyle if you have one. Please state your name and affiliation. We'll start up front with Reed and go to Bob.
Reed Spencer with the NASCAR Wire. For both you guys, can you think about the regular season points battle while you're out there racing? I mean, or are you more content with running your own race and not paying attention to that until maybe the end of the race?
I feel like at a place like Darlington, it's hard to, because I mean, it's just you're kind of racing the track, right? There might be an option to mix up the strategy in the stages, but I think we all kind of have a pretty good idea, what the best strategy is going to be. So it's tough here. I feel like you go to some of these other tracks, Michigan's a perfect example, right, where you have, we're more worried about fuel than tires. I think it's easier to do it, but here it's just a race where you're kind of running against the track all night long, and certainly it could go that way, but I feel like we both have solid nights that we're in a pretty good spot unless we just have a disastrous night.
Yeah. I mean, same thing. It's as well as he and I both run here, there shouldn't be too many points exchanged, so it just kind of comes down to making sure you have the cleanest race possible to not, hinder yourself in the points position, I guess. But so it's just, it's a tough track, one that the strategy is very straightforward, and if you have a good car, you're going to be up front and probably going to be taking tires most every chance you get if a caution comes out. So, nothing to kind of really get off strategy with.
All right, Bob.
Bob Pockris, Fox Sports. Tyler, have you seen the hood of your car yet? And are you familiar? I'm sure you know Tiger Woods and Jordan, but I don't know how big a hockey fan you are.
Yeah, Wayne Gretzky, man. Yes. That's pretty crazy. I mean, you don't have to be very familiar with hockey to know about Wayne. So, yeah, I remember seeing the car in the shop like last week, and I saw Michael on the hood, and I quickly went on by the gym or whatever. And then a couple days later, I took another look at it, and I realized Tiger and Wayne are on the hood too. So, yeah, just adding to the pressure of the weekend. So it's fine with me.
Yeah, like what's it like to have your boss's face on the hood of your car?
Better take care of the hood. Better take care of it, Bob. Yeah.
All right, we'll go to Steve Post in the back.
I probably don't need a microphone. Kyle, you've conquered so many really cool racetracks, not only in NASCAR, but in your dirt racing and all of your traveling. What does it mean to have won at this racetrack? Tyler alluded to this place, the history of it. What does it mean to you to be a winner here at Darlington and be able to check this track off?
Yeah, you know, a lot like Tyler, I'd run up front here for years and have led hundreds and hundreds of laps here, maybe the most in my Cup career here, and had yet to win a race. So, last year, finally conquering the Southern 500 felt really, really rewarding because this is such a difficult track. And like I mentioned, one where I feel like if I had more experience and done things differently, could have won a couple other at least. So, yeah, when you finally close out a win, it feels great. And when it's a crown jewel and one at a historic racetrack like Darlington, it's just, it's great. So it's definitely up there in my list of race wins and memories. And hopefully could have another opportunity to do that again this weekend.
All right, we're going to take our next question from Mark with PRN.
Thank you, Mark Carroll, PRN. For both of you, just looking ahead next week, you start the playoffs at Atlanta, so basically a speedway race. Just your thoughts on starting the playoff that way?
Hopefully make it past lap 2. It should be a better day. Yeah, it's one of those speed races. Again, it's one that you could see a mix-up on strategy and everything. But, yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But certainly just that first round really has the opportunity for it to get out of hand for a number of teams. So just try to manage the race best we can when we get there.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's definitely, for, I guess, teams like ours, probably not one that we were excited to see on the schedule. But, I think the good thing for the teams who performed well throughout the regular season, you hopefully have some bonus points along the way, a little bit of a buffer to the bubble. That's it's a anything can happen type of track. But we were really strong. We've been really strong there. We just I don't think I've finished a race yet at Atlanta since they've repaved it. So have just been caught up in different wrecks every time. So hopefully next weekend's a little different. We can be up front and you'll get stage points and at least see the checker flag.
Joey Logano was in here earlier and basically thought or intimated that all 3 races in the opening round, you have Atlanta, Watkins Glen, Bristol will be wild cards. How do you guys feel about those 3 races, and are they all wild cards?
Atlanta can be. Maybe we've seen some, pretty chaotic finishes there. Just, stack-ups can happen at a bad time and take out a lot of cars. Watkins Glen, I feel like, is a bit more straightforward. It seems like the tire we're going to go with is going to be much different than what we've been used to. So, I mean, it's very possible with that it takes a little bit different formula than what you've seen in the past there to win. So that has the potential. And then, I think with a place like Bristol, if it remains like it did in the spring, then, it could just be totally wide open there as well. So, it has all the potential to be a real disaster if you're not careful.
I mean, almost every race in the next gen area could be considered a wild card. There's just always crazy things that seem to happen. So, you just got to kind of take it week by week and assess where you're at and what your goals are going forward. But, the first round I think definitely can present more challenges than other rounds. But like I said, every track is anything crazy seems to happen.
All right, we're going to go to Chase.
Chase Folsom, FrontStretch.com. Kyle, as the most recent National Series winner at Rockingham, how cool was it for you to see that back on the schedule, and would you consider running there?
It's just trucks, right?
And Xfinity.
Oh, and Xfinity. I don't even know the weekend of it. So, what's that? Easter? No, I'm taking Easter off. So, no, I love to race, but not that much. So, 1 weekend off, Bob. That's amazing. So, No, I won't be there. As much as I like Rockingham or liked it back then, I guess it would be different now, since they've repaved it since then. But I do think it's awesome that we're going back to venues and kind of restoring venues like Rockingham, North Wilkesboro, all that. So yeah, I mean, I think the schedule is pretty cool. Obviously, wish we had at least one more off weekend, but no, I think the variety and for the lower series to tie into those grassroots style fan bases is great. So yeah, you won't see me at Rockingham, but I might be watching.
All right, we'll go to Peter.
Going off that question, Peter Stroud at TSJ Sports. Tyler, I believe that last Rockingham race was your first truck race. What are your thoughts on returning to Rockingham?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if it wasn't for, my first K&N start at Rockingham, I don't know if I'd be here, honestly. So, yeah, the track has been good to me. Well, it was good to me in the K&N car, but my truck start was a little less than desirable. I think we got spun out like lap 3 or something like that. So it's always been a really fun track. I've gotten to get an understanding of what a faster racetrack's kind of like. They're racing there way back when. So it's cool to see it back on the schedule. Like for me, is a place that kind of changed my life. So it's great to see it back.
All right, go ahead.
Chris Weaver, Fox 8 WGHP High Point. Kyle and Tyler, to what extent? But Kyle, you raced in one of those K&N races at Bowman Gray. Talk about the idea of going to Bowman Gray for the Clash and what you remember about the K&N race there. And then Tyler, just sort of follow up on your thoughts about the Clash at Bowman Gray.
Yeah, I honestly, it was so long ago, I don't really remember much about the race. I remember qualifying. I got the pole there the time we ran, so I remember part of that. I mean, it didn't take very long to complete 2 laps there, but I just remember being really slick and kind of your tires never came up, they were never quite ready in qualifying, so it was dirt tracking around there. But that was different, back then. Obviously, different car, tire, horsepower, all that. But regardless, I'm excited to go there. Logistically, it makes way more sense for the teams. And drivers and competitors, and the fan base there is just amazing. I've been there to watch, a local weekend show. I sat in the stands that night we ran the K&N race. Afterwards, I think they had modifieds or something run, and there's no other experience like Bowman Gray as a race fan. So I hope that same style crowd shows up for a cup race there and are flipping all of us off and leaning over the wall screaming at us, because it's amazing. It's such a cool atmosphere. So I'm excited for it. Yeah, I just hope the weather cooperates.
I don't know if our show will be crazy enough for them. They may not like us. I could be wrong.
All right, we're going to go to Al and then up front to Mike.
Yeah, Kyle, Al Pierce from Auto Week. The year you won your championship, you won 10 races. But if not for a great pit stop at Phoenix, you might not have been the champion. Does that system kind of seem odd to you, that you can dominate a year and it comes down to something that close?
I don't know. I mean, it's the system, so it doesn't really matter. I think it makes for storylines and whatnot, but yeah, I mean, I never really cared until that year. When we went into Phoenix with 9 wins and had dominated the year, I was like, man, I can't believe, and I was thinking it too with right before that final caution, I was like, man, I can't believe, we've been the best car all year and I'm going to finish 4th in points. And then, the magic caution came out, we had a magical pit stop, and the rest was history. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think I've heard people mention, I think I would be in favor of a 3-race little stretch to decide the champion, but rather than just one at Phoenix. But I don't know if we'll ever see that. But yeah, for right now, I mean, it is what it is. You got to be good everywhere, and especially good at Phoenix.
All right, we'll come up front to Mike. Go ahead, Mike.
Mike Embry, Auto Week. Speaking of Bowman Gray, it's one of the few places where you can see a young mother teaching her 5-year-old son how to flip a.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But Kyle, been a lot of talk, obviously, about you and Max lately. Ray Evernham yesterday mentioned he could probably put you two guys in IROC cars somewhere if you had an interest in that. But has the response to all that talk kind of surprised you?
No, not necessarily. Obviously, there's different fan bases throughout the world, and I think everybody's definition of the best all-around driver is a little bit different. So yeah, I don't know. I think it was a fun little topic of conversation there for a couple weeks, and obviously you have the American fans who stand by me, and then the rest of the world. But regardless, it's cool to just be, I guess, in the topic of conversation as one of the best all-around current drivers. But like I said, everybody's definition's a little bit different, so I think that makes your opinion of what that might be a little different.
All right, our next question will go to Owen in the back, and then we'll end with Steven up front here.
Actually, this time it's me.
Okay, Greg, go ahead.
Obviously, GregEngleCupScene.com. Obviously, the elephant in the room, we've got a Chevy driver and a Toyota driver. When you guys, and obviously if it comes down to winning a race, you're going to be manufacturer-centric towards the end if you help a Chevy driver or Toyota driver. But tomorrow night when we've got the cutoff and we've got guys who could win to get in or be on the bubble, are you guys cognizant of manufacturers, or is it, in other words, do you tiptoe around those drivers if to make sure you're not a factor in a bad way, regardless of manufacturer, or does the manufacturer still play into it?
I mean, a place like this, you're just running your own race. You're thinking about yourself. You're being selfish. You're not really thinking about anybody else. The Speedway, that's where it gets a little more complicated. But yeah, at a place like this, you're just trying to win the race. For us, we're in the playoffs, right? So if we go out there and win, it keeps anything crazy from happening. But yeah, it can get a little tricky, as we saw.
I think for a place like this, you're not as conscious about it as you are maybe last week. But sure, if it's like Ross and Kyle lined up at the front at the end, you're just, I guess, you just don't want to be the reason why they crash and don't make it or something like that. But you're still trying your best to win for yourself and your team and all of that. So and the same goes, I think, even at a track like Daytona. So, but yeah, it's not something that's you typically think about.
And as for the schedules next year, it seems that the drivers we've talked to today, we say, when is this race, when is that race? And do you guys, when the schedules come out, do you look at them as hard as like us, or it's just they tell you where to go and you go do it every year?
I'm just excited for another road course. Finally get to go to Mexico, so that'd be cool too. Yeah, I think I've been like some Cancun or something. I don't know. It doesn't really count. Real Mexico, I've never been to, so I'm excited about that. Yeah, outside of that, we try to just think ahead, look ahead of what we need to be focused on for the playoffs next year. Outside of that, other than seeing only one off weekend, that's the only thing I think we really think about.
For me, I didn't really study it a whole lot because there's no sprint car schedules out yet. So until those come out, then once sprint car schedules come out, that's when I start building my schedule for next year.
All right, we'll take one final question from Steven, and we'll wrap.
Steven, sunfurniture.com. Question for both of you guys. With the regular season finale being held at Darlington this year, is there kind of more calmness heading into this one, knowing the points and what you guys both need to do to win the regular season title, compared to ending at Daytona and where the points change every single lap?
Yeah, I was kind of hoping Daytona was going to go a little better, but coming in a place like this, it's kind of, I'd say it's pretty much in our control. It's in mine, it's in his, right? It's how we go out and how we run our race tonight. We'll decide it. A place like Daytona, it's just, when you're fighting the cutoff, or if you're fighting, for that regular season championship, it's just so stressful because there's so many things that can happen out of your control.
Yeah, I like Daytona being the finale of the regular season. I think that extra you imagine if Harrison Burton won last week, like it would, or sorry, this week, like he won last week, I just think it'd be an even bigger story. So, and I think it's that way next year again. Maybe we go back to Daytona for the final. So, yeah, I just, not that it matters a whole lot. I just think the storyline of it, being the final race to get in is pretty cool.
All right, Tyler, Kyle, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate your time. We wish you guys the best of luck this weekend.
Thank you.
All right, there's the checkered flag. Great job, driver.